Breaking news we're following from Ottawa. The Trudeau government is summoning China's ambassador for clarification and questioning. It comes 4 days after a story broke that a Conservative MP from Ontario, Michael Chong, as well as members of his extended family who live in Hong Kong, had been threatened by China.
In light of the fact confirmed by CSIS, I have instructed my deputy minister to summon the Chinese ambassador. That is what he's doing as we speak. He will convey to him directly that we will not tolerate any form of foreign interference and that all options, including expulsion of diplomats, remain at the table as we consider the consequences for this behavior.
Well, this story has engulfed the federal government, not just the Michael Chong issue, but bigger picture, the issue of foreign interference by China in our elections. And we know that the Prime Minister is under fierce pressure now to act. In fact, all the opposition parties say there must be a full-scale public inquiry. This, by the way, is China's ambassador to Canada, who will now be summoned for questioning. Let's bring in CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver, who is in the capital following the story closely. Annie, always good to see you. Walk us through some of the details here, what we're learning about this.
Hi, Todd. Well, it was a pretty heated exchange at the Foreign Affairs Committee today. You saw Michael Chong getting very heated, asking questions to the Foreign Affairs Minister about why a diplomat who was allegedly involved in a plot by China to threaten Michael Chong's family, his relatives who live in Hong Kong, why this individual, this diplomat, is still in Canada. The minister said that, the government has learned more information, that they only heard about this plot on Monday when it was first reported by the Globe and Mail, and that previously they didn't know about that. Now, this is a sort of separate issue that we can get into after, but the minister says that now that they have this information and they've looked into it further, they've talked to CSIS, that the federal government is going to summon China's ambassador to Canada. Now, this is sort of a diplomatic move that allows Canada to say, look, we do not tolerate foreign interference. We do not tolerate the allegations that are here. And she says that the government is now assessing the next steps. That's the word she used, which could include the expulsion of the Chinese ambassador to Canada or other diplomats. But what was really interesting here, Todd, is that the Foreign Affairs Minister said that if Canada takes that next step and does expel either the ambassador or a diplomat, that there will be consequences. She said that in no uncertain terms, that yes, there will be consequences to this. She says Canada's economic relationship to China, its diplomatic relationship will be affected. And she says Canada right now is assessing what the consequences will be from the potential next step, which could involve the expulsion of a diplomat or the ambassador.
Bigger picture, talk to us, Annie, about all the heat that's now on the Prime Minister and his government over this issue of Chinese interference.
Well, before these allegations even surfaced, the federal government and specifically the Prime Minister and his cabinet were under a lot of pressure because there had been previous allegations about potential foreign interference by China in previous elections. And that's why the Prime Minister created this appointment with David Johnston. But the opposition has always maintained that the only way to get to the bottom of this, to find out what foreign interference looked like in the previous elections, was to have a public inquiry. The Prime Minister has said, no, we're not going to do that right now. However, if that's something that David Johnston in his role as special rapporteur decides, then the federal government would move ahead with that. But if this is one of the recommendations. But now you're hearing the opposition say, look, here is an alleged plot by China to intimidate and threaten a Conservative MP, a sitting member of Parliament, because he spoke out against China and their treatment of the Uyghurs. And Conservative MPs and NDP are saying, look, what we were doing before is not enough, that the federal government needs a public inquiry. And more than that, they want to know exactly what this relationship is between CSIS and the federal government. The opposition MPs are saying it appears that there's a big disconnect here because this alleged incident with Michael Chong happened about 2 years ago. And CSIS apparently was aware of it, but they felt that the threat was not at a high enough bar to actually let Michael Chong know or to let members of cabinet or the Prime Minister know. So you heard the Foreign Affairs Minister today that she only heard about these allegations on Monday when they reported in the news. The Public Safety Minister said the same thing, as well as the Prime Minister. So the opposition is saying, well, what else is CSIS not telling you because their bar is too high? And when CSIS is aware that there is a threat against a sitting member of parliament and their family, why is that information not being shared with the MP? And why is that information not being shared with the Liberal government? Now, Trudeau has said he wants an investigation. He wants to understand what happened here and said that, yes, this bar needs to change. And what happened in this situation was not okay. But opposition MPs are saying, look, there is a disconnect here, and it's making them question what kind of information the government is getting about foreign interference.
Yeah, good questions. Thanks, Annie, for this.
Thanks, Todd.
We're going to keep our eye on that story for you, of course, throughout the day.